Today on the show, Jay Lygaber, author of Harder Working Money, talking about 95% of retirement plans are broken. 3 things you need to know. And welcome to the Expert Showcase, Jay. Glad to have you aboard. What are we going to be talking about in today's episode?
Unfortunately, only about 5% of baby boomers reaching retirement are financially positioned to sustain their lifestyle through their remaining lifespan. Others will face tough choices. We're going to discuss the reason why plans aren't working and an alternative approach that can be very advantageous for most people.
Excellent. This sounds like really important stuff for people to know. Now, I know when we were preparing for the show, we talked about the fact that we're going to hit 3 main takeaways for people, the 3 things people need to know. So I'm going to do a quick rundown there. We're going to talk about the fact that retirement plans have dramatically changed. Then we're going to talk about why retirement plans are so off base at this point, at least those 95%. And then I'm going to ask you if there's any hope for a solution, Jay. So I hope you can give us some hope at the end here. So that said, let's start with that first point and dig in a little bit and get into the heart of the matter. So you've said that retirement plans have dramatically changed. What is the deal, Jay?
Well, you know, our parents and grandparents tended to have retirement pension plans where someone else was responsible for ensuring that enough money was put into the plan so it could provide an income for the remaining lifetime. But with the advent of 401k plans, you have become responsible to fund and to manage and disperse your plan. Sure, your company may give you a match, but you're the one that's responsible. And most people are not educated in finance, and they're not prepared to manage their plan. A compounding issue is longevity. It's a wonderful thing with medical advances that people are now living longer. But retirement plans used to only last for 10 to 15 years. Now you need to plan for double or more than that. To use an example, to show the example, if you needed $50,000 beyond Social Security, the retirement planners would put it in their computer and it would spit out and say you need about $2 million in equity when you want to start your plan. Unfortunately, most people only have a small fraction of that.
Well, Jay, I've heard of these things called pensions. I mean, back in the day, it's sort of almost like mythology, right? I mean, who has a pension anymore? So yeah, we gotta sock away enough money to make that happen, and most people aren't doing that, right?
That's correct. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah. So let's segue then into your second point. Then, I mean, how did we get here? I mean, why are retirement plans so off base at this point?
There are 3 things that people need to understand: market volatility, the inefficiency of the vehicles that they're using, and the time required to compound. In a traditional model, you're building a mountain of equity. You're saving money while you're actively working, and then you spend it off while you're in retirement. Mm-hmm. But the markets are volatile, and we've had 2 crashes in the last 14 years, each of which took 50% of the gains away. So people's plans aren't developing the way they thought they would. In mutual funds, where most of the people's money is put, they're structured with fees that also make the vehicle very inefficient. Most people don't understand the math. They think the fees sound very small. But if you look at the math, you'll find out that over the long term, the financial institution ends up with about 2/3 of the gain.
Go figure.
So I think it's kind of a big ripoff, but 100 million people are involved in playing that game. The final aspect is that with these meager returns from the fees and the market volatility, you need about 30 to 40 years of compounding to get to the numbers that you need. Most baby boomers today only have 10 to 20% of what they need, and the time remaining is very short. So they're worried because they're playing an unwinnable hand. They feel daunted and confused.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that living too long would be a problem, but it certainly can be a problem. And yet, I mean, I still remember how long it took me to really fully understand that whole concept of compounding, and that if you start too late, it really is too late. You can't make up, at the end of the race, because the magic happens by starting early enough and then having it snowball big enough, right?
You're absolutely correct. And the offsets of these declines really set people back.
Yeah, absolutely. So Okay, so let's now that we've depressed everyone, Jay. So, is there hope here? I mean, is there hope for? Is there a better way? Is there another way to be doing this? I'm assuming there is, since you've written a book about it.
I think people need to shift their approach to a completely different model. Rather than trying to build a mountain of equity, I recommend that people seek to create passive income streams to fund the lifestyle that they desire. So rather than investing in stocks and bonds, they should invest in capital assets, things like income-oriented businesses or rental real estate or private lending. Each of these create cash flow every month. And in a relatively short period of time, you can turn the capital that you currently have in equities into these streams of income. Using an example just to clarify, we talked about $50,000 a year as being a target that some people may need. That equates to $4,200 a month. And that's achievable in a very short period of time. I own a sixplex that generates more rental income every month than that. But I'm not suggesting that it's as easy as just buying one asset, but whether your number is $3,000 a month or $6,000 a month or $12,000 a month, it's a very doable thing that in the next 5 years to 10 years, you can accumulate a portfolio that will generate that forevermore, rather than trying to build this huge mountain of equity that people just can't do. Finally, you really don't have to do this on your own. There are many investors that are seeking partners to come in with capital to join in to their rental real estate or their private loans. And these businesses generate efficiencies which help your money compound at a much higher rate. So it becomes a winnable game. It's an approach that can work, and I'm just trying to get the message out. So I've written a book called Harder Working Money, How to Use Forward-Thinking Retirement Planning to Create Rushing Rivers of Passive Income for Life. I think this income-oriented approach can benefit many, many people.
I totally agree with you, Jay. I mean, I think the mainstream financial Wall Street type world has really snowed people by using really complex language that makes people kind of feel like, hey, I'm just not competent to manage my own money. The only thing I can do is go the 401k route, buy some mutual funds, and it's all too complicated for me to understand. And maybe that's true, right? But your whole point is that you don't have to go that route at all, or solely. You can actually develop assets that pay you back, that are under your control. You mentioned like rental real estate, of course. Absolutely. Now your rent is paying you every month. That is an income stream. So it's really about thinking about a whole lot of different ways for the money to come in, rather than just some portfolio that some other person you've never met before is managing in some distant place while they're skimming all their fees and things off the top, right?
It's an approach where people can reach the goal that they want to fund the retirement lifestyle that they desire in a relatively short period of time. And that's, I think, very beneficial, as opposed to trying to build this mountain of equity and ending up, $2-3 million short of where you really need to be.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it, Jay. I mean, this is really important stuff. I am very glad you've written this book. So just to kind of recap real quickly here, so we've been talking about the fact that retirement plans for a whole lot of people, 95% of people, are broken. And the three things we've been talking about here is that partly that's because plans have changed so dramatically. We've been talking about why, the background why things have gotten so off base, and the fact that there is another vehicle and another way to do that, Jay. So I'm glad you've written the book. Speaking of the book is called Harder Working Money, and it's going to be available right up on Amazon.com. So all you got to do is go there and look up Harder Working Money and look up Jay Ligaver. You can get in touch with Jay as well directly. He's available to chat with you about these things and see how this can really change the way you're thinking about retirement. And he is at Jay, just the way it sounds, Jay, at harderworkingmoney.com. So, Jay, it has been great having you. I'm glad you have joined us here as one of our experts on the Experts Showcase.
I appreciate the opportunity to get the message out.
Well, we really hope you enjoyed that episode. So Chris, what should people do right now?
Yeah, if you're a coach or consultant and you realize that starring on an episode of Expert Showcase is going to help put your business forward, what we want you to do is go to expertshowcase.com, click on the apply button, and apply to be our next featured expert on the Expert Showcase. And if you're a coach or consultant and you've got a lot of content and you realize after watching this previous video that doing a show, doing your own show would put your business forward even faster, then what we want you to do is go out to VideoContent.Agency, check out what we have to offer, contact us, let us consult with you, and let's design a program and a package around you and your content. I think that's about it. Did you have anything else, Mark? Dr. Mark, anything?
Just do what he said.
Yeah, not what he said.